memory of our holy teacher and friend, Michael Golomb. I can't believe I'm even saying this. I still can't wrap my head around it. Michael was so alive. I always remember him so alive. You know, he had those eyes that like were always wide open. And, you know, I just always picture him. I can't wrap my head around it. He's such a beacon of light and joy. He loved Israel so much. He loved the whole world, everybody. He was always going out, looking for excuses to go out and meet people and connect with them. And he was going to these Mela festivals in Israel on Pesach. It was like, you know, like the Israelis are just out there to do drugs and do trance all night, and he was going there on Pesach and opening up a tent of, you know, they call it the Ohel Simcha or whatever, and bringing the Torah and dancing with these Israelis and on the sand and like by the beach, and he was just, that's the kind of guy he was. And
they say that the Rav, I heard it from Rav, it's probably from the Zohar or something. It says that everything that happens in this world is just a little bit of it's like a picture of what's going on in the upper worlds. So I'm sure he's like, there's a big, like, the brachas, you know, and the aliyah, like, there's like, it's not much of a lot. So much of a better place, even though we miss him. You know? I was telling Leah, like, we didn't think about the Nekuda. We suddenly thought about, like, the aliyahs on the Moshav, you know, like, who's going to give the brachas?
Yeah, no, there's no one that could do it the way he did, for sure. Yeah, he would do the Mishnah Bracha. In the middle of the bracha, he would pause, and he would just go off on a rant. Like he would, if you were on the Moshe for Shabbos, you know, right in the middle of the bracha, like he had this place where he would pause, and he would start going off for like sometimes 10 minutes, you know.
You're saying it was just for all the
the whole bracha that was tied into the aliyah.
Tied into your aliyah. Just talking about this and that, and he would open the Torah.
He'd bring it down. And if he didn't know you, he'd bring it down. Just like he was out of this world. Out of this world.
The truth is that he's my neighbor growing up. And
yeah.
the truth is since I moved to LA, when I go home every once in a while to the Moshav, I would be a little uncomfortable because when he'd see you, at least see me, and most people I think he'd like, shh, brother, grab you on your heart. How's your heart?
Wow.
So,
you
know, schmutz laaretz. It would just be like such a thing to go through, you know, because you'd have to like really kind of face up to certain things that are going on in your life. It was almost intense, you know. Now looking back at it, I feel strange about it because sometimes I remember kind of ducking. Just kind of driving But yeah, I was just telling my wife because I just came from something else I was doing, and I know that you reached out and I was like, you know, it was busy time. I was like, I have to call you Huda, which is the funniest thing because you mentioned that you were coming here, and I was like, maybe he's still there. I feel like I have to be there. And she was saying she understood why I had to be there, but she was like, why do you feel like you have to be there? And I was just thinking that when is the next time we're going to see these people, these kind of souls that, you know, you don't see it in LA where you're walking down the street and someone grabs you by the heart and says, you know, what's going on? How's your heart? And I think this needs to be celebrated. These people need to be celebrated. Their lives and what they were living for. We need to get together and sing songs for them.
Yeah. Did Michael have any favorite niggin that you know of?
The one that I always remember, because every time they took the Torah out, he always went into I think that was his favorite nigga.
Have you seen the video of they got together and they were singing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Amazing video. So maybe we'll see it later. But this is a song that they were jamming out to for a while.
Who's that?
So Yitzhak Meir and a bunch of he helped arrange it, but a lot of chevra went to the Moshav, and they were just dancing and singing, and then towards the end he gave like a shir, which was great, and then brachas, and it was just super powerful.
I was actually there.
You were there.
Yeah.
I saw you there.
So I just want to say it was a really special experience just getting to the Moshav. It was basically a surprise for Michael. That someone Neely initiated, and she's like, let's get together. She rented a bus and people drove, went to the Moshav, people brought candles. We went there quietly. We set up everything, and then someone called Leah on her phone. She walked out of their house with Michael, and then all the tambourines and the tarbukas went off, and they walked out hand in hand, dancing. And you could just imagine, like, everyone there, just like it just turned into the song, and just watching them dance down, from their house to the area where we all were. Was very powerful, and like you just said, we sang up Gunim, and then he started to talk, and it was like him giving us chizuk. We were all there, like him strengthening us, like and just going into words of Torah, and then blessing, and he blessed everyone there, and I distinctly remember going up to him at the end for a bracha, and it was just so powerful, just like you're saying, his eyes, and just seeing him and his smile and his energy of like, I don't know him so well. Sorry, I want you to go into the song just like one moment of Hakarat HaTov, because when I moved to Israel, I had a buddy, Zahava Waldstein, and she's like, you have to come with me to the shir, and she brought me to the shir, to Leah's shir, and I went to her shir, and my sister is not so connected, like she lives, she does her thing, but she doesn't really attend shirim, and I said, come with me, her name, my sister Judy, and she came with me to Leah's shir, and she became closer to Leah. I continued to attend Leah's shir, but my sister was so connected to Leah, and I have so much hakarat tov to Leah and Michael. She spent Shabbat with them, and I just have so much hakarat tov to them for their just like acceptance, being open, and just so loving to Am Yisrael and Klal Yisrael. So that night at the Moshav was really memorable for me, and the vision I have of them, and that's the last time I saw them together. I've seen Leah since, but it's of them holding hands and dancing down. And that dancing and that simcha, my sister recently Skyped Leah, and so we got to speak, and it was very short, but she just said, I keep asking Michael, like, okay, just tell me, what am I supposed to do here? What am I supposed to do now? Just like, tell me, give me a sign, like, what am I supposed to do? And they're beautiful, ahava, and power between them. He used to come pick her up after the shiurim sometimes, and the night I heard of his passing, I listened to a 6-minute vocal. Someone had recorded their love story for, I guess, Valentine's Day in Israel. It's a 6-minute. Just you hear their voice, but I had played it that night. I heard, and just hearing his voice, and it's like his Torah, his voice, everything he left is still very powerful. And you see it here within people who didn't know him, or who were their neighbors, or who might have, just recently like heard about him. It's like the energy and the feeling of Michael and his, legacy and what he lives, and I can't even like fully verbalize it, but you just mentioned it, and just took me back to that moment of watching them walk down, dance down to everyone there, and just thank you to it. Thank you guys for opening your house.
Thanks for sharing. That's awesome.
I read a thing about Tiberius, about the emperor.
Tiberius?
You know, the trillion named after.
Right. Yeah, and he's banging his tambourine on this one. Where's the, let me get the words, even though I think I know them by heart. No, you're fine.
It's like a must, you know. You haven't realized that a long time ago. It's a must, that one, right?
That one, yeah.
What's the show?
That'll be the whole thing. Yeah.
One more nigga.
One more.
I already said the average.
How about Mr. Tambourine Man?
Mr. Tambourine Man, right?
Mr.
Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy and there is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In that jingle morning I come following you. Mr. Tambourine Man.
That's really my first impression of Michael. When I first moved to the Moshav, I was like 10 years old, and this guy standing there in the background just playing the tambourine like I've never seen anyone ever play the
Every part of
tambourine.
his body.
Yeah. He'd hit it with his elbow, and he would rip them all. They'd rip all the time because he would just get carried away.
But you know what? He was in beat, right?
You know what?
Yeah,
It was pretty amazing.
My parents were big Dylan fans before we moved, and when I saw him, I was like, "That's Mr. Tambourine Man." That's who it was. That's who the song is written about. I
Yeah.
don't know if Dylan met him or just had Kavana, but
Now that you're saying that, I remember. I just remembered something. I was in New York, my first time leaving Israel, leaving the Moshav. Not leaving the first time leaving Israel, but my first time to the States. I was 19 years old, and I was in New York, and I don't know how Michael somehow reached me at Noach's house. He was like, "Brother, I need you to go to not Guitar Center. There was a specific shop in like the village where he wanted to get his tambourine." And there was a specific tambourine with a specific kind of skin, and he gave me like all the specifics. He was like, "You have to bring me one back to the
Total stranger, but I heard you singing. I'm like, this sounds familiar.
Good,
how are you?
What's up?
What up?
We're all here gathering in memory of our holy friend and teacher, Michael Golomb from the Moshav.
Very nice, very nice.
Passed away last week.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so we're just remembering and singing.
That's it, the chair right there. Pull it down.
That sounded good. My sister, she just moved in right across the streets, and I live in the valley, but I just wanted to just come in.
Did you stop by?
Sounds good, you guys. I love it. My wife, she's down there. We're walking our dog, and she can't
Find
come.
the dog on the railing and bring her up.
That's what I was saying. She would love to. This is just beautiful.
So what happened? They went through.
So you got the tambourine?
Tambourine?
Yeah, I went into this crazy shop. I was like all scared. It was like through this weird shop, and I told the guy knew. I guess Michael had bought tambourines from him before.
Oh, that's okay.
I said it's for Michael in Israel. Michael told me to tell him. He was like, "Oh, I know exactly what he wants," and it was like a special, like tambourine with like a skin and everything. And he was so happy when I brought it back to Israel for him.
Go to the center.
I spoke with my ima actually right after he passed away, and she said that the last thing he told her was, she was like, "What's your last message for me?" You know, and he said, "Just have compassion for people." I was like, "That's my message. You have to have compassion for each other." You have to have compassion for each other.
children sleeping here. I've called the police. This is the second time you've had to come over. It's ridiculous. Grow up. I'm Jewish too. I don't wear a kippah, but there's something called a chilul Hashem. And you have people around here who are not Jewish, that have little kids, and it's disrespectful. So grow up. Seriously.
Okay. Party's over. Party's over. There you go.
If you guys really, oh sorry. If you guys really want to keep doing this, move to the Moshe. There's a place where you can do that.
I guess we'll have to turn it into Bartaras and stories.
Growing up, I mean,
all you need is one ticket to Israel.
Let's at least finish the thing.
I don't know.
But I hear.
My good friend has a studio. We can just go soundproofed in there.
He's not in this building.
Oh, really?
I don't know where he's from. Where?
I've never seen him.
Never seen the guy before. Maybe he's in that building.
What's your name?
Maybe that building.
Maybe he's Eliyahu. Aaron Goldblatt. Telling us to grow up. Yeah, Valley Tarzan.
Somebody used to say all
Bottom Tarzan over.
Someone get out of your life. But they needed to hear it.
Some story you know about.
Not that we don't hear it.
I gave over.
They needed to hear it. We're all grown up already. We don't want to grow up.
Overrated.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I hear them.
Probably most of them
Most of them, you don't know what they're growing up for. All right.
That's sad.
The concert comes.
So before you have to wait for a second.
That guitar has some special power.
I'm serious about it.
So what's? I don't even have your guys' digits. What's the number?
No, give me a second because I want you to hear also.
You know, I have to tell you, I went next door, my boys disappeared and went next door.
Got your back.
And there was a Russian woman
Oh,
on the street. They
Facebook.
yelled
I
at
also
me.
have my
No, no.
Facebook.
This is a song. The boys were being
saying whenever that
everything on the
shoot me a
song.
text.
All right.
Now my family has been singing
310.
this.
You can put it in
this
here
year a
and
lot.
call
I've
it.
been,
But
these
then
friends
what was it
and
like?
just friends like
You'll call your phone and then.
and it's about the
Did you
angels,
hear that?
Hashem, the angels that surround us. And then we Skyped, my sister Skyped, spoke to Leah, who's still in Shiva. She couldn't really talk for too long, but my sister said, should we sing B'Shem Hashem? And I said, I'm not sure, you'll see if it's appropriate, and we didn't end up singing it over Skype, but the name Michael is in the song. It's about the angels who surround us, and it's a prayer that we say a lot of times before you go to sleep in Kriyat Shema L'Mita. And many, many years ago, my friend, we were in Belarus running some summer program, and she told me a Dvar Torah about this pasuk. It says on the right hand is Michael, and Mismoli Gabriel, Fanai Oriel, Macharai Rafael, Va'al Roshi Shechinat El. And where's the placing of all these malachim? Like, why is Michael to the right? Why is Gabriel to the left? So she shared a board, and tonight, I think just singing, I had another thought. So I'll just share what she shared. My friend Danielle Ares, singer. She said, when you need Michael, usually we think of our right hand as the strong hand. If you make a bracha, you take the fruit, whatever, with your right hand, and you make the bracha, because that's our strong hand. And usually when the strength could be connected to the ego. I'm so strong, it's me, and it might go to your head might go to the ego. And God says, no, Michael, the angel Michael, like, who is like God? When you turn, it's like, who is like God? Oh my God. Then, it quiets the ego. And to the left is the Gabriel. It's for all those people who think they're not good enough, they're not smart enough, they really can't succeed in life, and they're maybe down in the dumps. And God says, no, Gabriel is to your right. You're strong. Gabriel is to your left. You're strong. You're Ben or Bat Melach. You are the child of God. Like, you are someone. You are beautiful, and you can succeed. And it's all the, give yourself strength, because you are the daughter or son of the king. And with Oriel, it's like sometimes you see it's like dark and dreary, but like there's always that light at the end, of the tunnel. There's always that light at the end. If you ever fall back, there's someone, there's people behind you and cast you. Al Roshi Shechinat El, and God's like, Shechina is above the head, encompassing us. And like this Michael, Michael is someone who's like so humble. He walks so humbly with God. There's no ego involved. walls. When you meet Michael, he's just like so down to earth and so accepting of others. Like there's no ego. But the thing connected to Michael is I think he always walks around, thinking, who is like God? God is awesome. God is great. He always has like, he's so connected that it's like Michael, he always walks around with like, who is like God? Look at all the greatness in the world. And that aspect of Gabriel, of going up to people and saying, you're great, you're wonderful, you're beautiful, he had that too. So those aspects of the two, like Melachim and his name, like Michael, and how much he like walked around is all about like God and bringing people who are down in the dumps, or wherever they were in life, but seeing their beauty and spark and making them see it too. And that aspect of like being angelic, like, that angel Michael, that we didn't end up singing, to Leah over Skype, but that was my sister's first thing, is should we sing that song to her? And the power of having his name in the song of this tefillah of Michael, and I just wanted to share that, because in the 6 minute, I'm just going to end off with this, in the 6 minute recording of their love story on Valentine's Day, he said, he got to ask her a question, and he's like, what would you do, like, if you knew, like, we're not going to have so much time left together, it's like our last few hours, and she said, I would learn with you, I want to learn Torah with you, and I would daven my guts out so I could have more time with you. So that's the fact of them learning together and their love and increasing. So like this Devar Torah, לעילוי, נשמת מיכאל, Avraham, Moshe Ben Yehudit, לעילוי, נשמת, like the learning and just the angels, and when we see the song, like in the future, very loud, like, to just think of Michael, like really what that.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So
Before me and Yehuda, sorry, I'm cutting you off again, but me and Yehuda need to run, so one thing I'm thinking is,
before the cops get here?
Before the cops get here,
we cannot afford to be...
Guys go running
from house to house.
Since I walked into this room, the one thing that keeps running through my head is me and my wife again had a meeting with a financial planner this week, and they ask a whole bunch of very aggressive questions when you meet with them. And one of the questions they asked both of us is, what do your parents do? What do they have? How much money do they have? What do they own? And I was just like, I was sitting there, and I wanted to say, like, they write poetry, and they come from this place where there's this rabbi, and they sing songs, and like, and it's this special thing, but I couldn't say anything, and all I could say is, well, I don't really, they don't really have anything, and since I walked into this room, I kind of feel what they have.
Amen. Amen.
So thank you for doing this.
Man,
yeah.
You have to invite him to the next gathering.
Yeah.
So before you leave, I kind of feel like the honorary aunt. And I was 16 when I walked into the Moshe for the first time. Petrified. Seeking and searching and petrified. The second time, I grew up in Rehovot, and the second Shabbat, the Shabbat after that, I missed the bus from Rehovot to Ramle. My mother was devastated. I was devastated. My mother, God bless her, saw how devastated I was. She says, do you know how to get there? I said, sure, it's right outside of Louvre. What did I know? Right outside of Louvre. I was like, okay. So she said, I'll take you. She figured I'd be so miserable on Shabbat, it's better for her to take me. Like, I think she did for herself, not only for me. So I didn't exactly how to get there. Once we hit Louvre, I wasn't sure exactly, but okay, we got there. Now with a lot of time for her to get, like mamash, exactly enough time for her to get back to Rehovot before Shabbat. And Chaim Jinchi, God bless him, we're passing through the gate, and he's near the Beit Midrash, and he goes like this, Bruchim Abim! And my mother is so straight, makes a ruler look crooked. And she goes,
That's so Chaim Jinchi.
You're coming home with me. I go, what? She goes, you're coming home with me. So I said, I said two things. I said, number one is I was here last Shabbat. I came home. It's okay. I said, that's number one. I said, number two, whatever you're afraid of that I'll see, I don't even know what it is. I said, number three, how do you know about these things? And I got out of the car. And the rest is history. But there's a way in which, in my mind, I'll always be 60. And your parents, they'll always be in their 20s.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's always going to be in my mind. And when Reb Shlomo saw me for the first time after my father crossed over 27 years ago, the first thing he said to me was, children think their parents will never die. And so I just really want to hold that space for you guys, for Arichut Yamim, for your parents. And that should be the way it is. That's the first thing. And the other thing I want to say specifically to you guys, your siblings. And that's forever. And so my family, when my father crossed over, my family had never met any of the Chevra whatsoever. They had heard about them, but they had never met any of them. So anytime someone would walk in with peot and a long beard, or a woman would walk in with a very flowery skirt and patchouli, so either my aunt or my brother, whoever was sitting next to me, they kind of hit me on the side and they go, one of yours. And then they would walk out and they'd say, what'd you say their name was? Did their parents give them that name? Like this whole ongoing thing. It was like, what? Does Rav Kohen know, like my post-secretary, does Rav Kohen know that you hug your Reb Shlomo friends? Like there's all this questioning going on. But I found out afterwards that Emunah, after she schlepped all the way from Yerushalayim to Rehovot, and at the time, there's like 2 buses through Ramle. And I learned afterwards that she came home and she collected the kids. Collected the kids.
Literally collected. You should know.
Yeah, but I think there were only 8 at the time, you know. So
it's not the police. It's not the police. Thank God you're not. Okay, we can stay, Yoda.
It sounded so pretty, I had to come.
She collected the kids, and she didn't tell them what happened.
Did you pass the chair over, like so?
Because they were young. But she collected the kids, and she made them promise to each other. She made them promise to each other that they would be at each other's weddings. That was what she did. Emunah collected all of her kids, and what she said to them was, that's all she did. She didn't say that my Abba crossed over, or anything. Like she just said, I just came from visiting Mimi, and you have to promise me. You have to promise each other that you'll be at each other's weddings. So, you know, it's a little bit crazy that we're all here in Los Angeles. Right? So if you ever doubted whether God exists or not, I think this is an opportunity to acknowledge that God exists. Because otherwise it'd be completely impossible, and impossible for us to be living so close to each other, and to hold that vision of Eretz Yisrael for each other. But really, especially you kids that grew up on the Moshav and married into the Moshav, like really that's what you got to promise each other. Right? You just promise each other. I mean,
be at each other's next weddings.
Be at each other's smachot. Thank you. Didn't say that. Didn't say that. Right? No, you gotta promise. You gotta promise each other to, no matter where you are in the world, to continue to be each other's smachot, and that your children are at each other's smachot.
Amen.
That's what you need to promise each other.
There should be many smachot.
Do you have any memories of that?
And the thing I want to say about Michal is 2 memories. One is the one that I shared on Facebook, and that was Reb Shlomo went to the Soviet Union. This is still the Soviet Union in 1989, and I joined him. He was there for 3 weeks, and I joined after the first week, and the whole time. And at the time, I didn't think about what this meant to be a woman traveling by herself in the Soviet Union. I just remember I said to my mother, because in Moscow I had to change airports. Like I flew from Israel to Vienna. I spent the night there, and then I said to my mother, I said, I have good news and I have bad news. She says, yeah, the good news. I said, when I get to Moscow, the Russians will take care of me. And she said, and the bad news? I said, when I get to Moscow, the Russians will take care of me. like, who knew, right? Who knew? But I was flying to Kiev, and I knew that from Kiev they were going to be going to Uman, but I didn't know when that was going to happen. And really the whole time I'm praying, just make sure it's not happening. It didn't happen already. Just make sure it didn't happen already. Just make sure it didn't happen already. And I got there like 11:30 at night, and the next morning finding out, we're going to Uman today. And yes, And
In
so
like the 80s, yeah.
89.
89.
89. It was the summer of 89.
Michal was there.
So Michal was there. So we were at one hotel, and then Reb Shlomo was in Yehuda Katz and Stewie Wax were at a different hotel. So we were waiting the whole time, waiting, and they were supposed to get there at 9 o'clock. Really very funny. And 2 hours later, right, very funny. They're still not there, and it's my, my tendency is to worry. So. And Michal, he said, he looked at me like he said, "You're wasting your time worrying." He says, "Don't worry, start davening." Like, why waste your time? Why waste time davening if you could be using that time?
Worrying.
Why waste your time worrying if you can use that time davening? And that has stayed with me forever. Like, I find myself when I'm in the state of worrying, right? And I just hear him say to me, stop worrying, start davening. Stop worrying, start davening. Like, worrying is a waste of time. If you can daven, then why worry? Wow. So that 26 years later, and it's still with me, and will walk with me forever and forever. And the other thing I want to say about Michal is that there are 2 kinds of teachers. There are multiple kinds of teachers, but for right now there are 2 kinds of teachers. And one kind of teacher is as a teacher that you hear the Torah that they teach, and you want to hear more and more of what they have to say. And then there are teachers that you see how they walk in the world, and you don't need to hear a word that comes out of their mouth. All you need to do is to see them and to know that you want to walk with these people. And for me, Michal was that second kind of teacher, right? For me, is that it was the sense of always. It was the sense of who is this person that has this kind of emunah.
Yeah.
That was it. It was, and I want to say love for our Rebbe.
I have to interrupt you right there.
Please.
Because Michal had this phrase of, I remember clearly my Abba and him did a festival in the Moshav one year, and they brought all these big Israeli stars, and it was a huge disaster. Basically, these huge Israeli stars came, and not a lot of people came, and they ended up in huge debt, owing these Israeli guys, tons of money. And I remember Michal running into the room, he didn't look nervous at all. He was like, "Pension, Baruch Hashem, we got problems." that phrase just always stuck with me. It was like such a Michal. Baruch Hashem, it was always like, "Baruch Hashem, we got problems." It was almost like, but that was the kind of, like you're saying, the emunah that he had. He knew somehow he was going to get through it, but Baruch Hashem, we got problems.
So I also wondered what he was on that he could do that. I want that also.
The crazy thing is whatever he was on, he was also the security, the Rabash of the Moshav. He was in charge of the security of the Moshav.
That was a scary thought.
And he did a very serious art. He was in the Mishmar HaGvul in the army, which is like a very fighting unit. It's he was one of the guys that was really very serious. Yeah, he was a serious Zionist.
Yeah, he fought in the army in the Lebanon War. He was in the war.
Yeah. And he was the guy when we first, we'd have to get the gun from him when we did Shmirah.
Right.
He would lay into us about how much responsibility we have. And with all his craziness, he was very focused in a certain way.
Anyway, sorry.
That's really what I want to say. That was you looked at him, and also I want to say, like you were saying, how he played the tambourine and every part of his body was playing the tambourine. But it's really, if you wanted to know what David HaMelech looked like when he was dancing in front of the Aron HaKodesh on its way to Shiloh, that's what it looked like. Right. That's what it looked like. And the last thing I was thinking, because of when you started to play the tambourine, so there's a tradition to tell about Shem Tov stories on Motzei Shabbat, and so it's told that the Karolina Rebbe had a wagon like the Baal Shem's wagon, and what was special about the Baal Shem's wagon was that the Baal Shem would sit next to Alexei as horseman until they got to the outskirts of Mezhibush, and then Alexei and the Baal Shem would turn around, and the wagon would go, and it would go for as long as it needed to go, and it would go as far as it needed to go. And the Hasidim always knew that when it stopped, that's where they needed to be. And it's told that the Karolina Rebbe had the same kind of wagon. And so the story is that one Motzei Shabbat, the Karolina Rebbe said to his Hasidim, "We're going." And I like to add that if you ask where, there wasn't room for you on the wagon, and if you didn't ask, there was room for everyone. So on the wagon, and off they go. And at first they know where they are, and it wasn't Motzei Shabbat. It was one afternoon, so first they recognize where they are, and then not so much. And the sun is setting, and time for mincha. Chassidim, even though they're like, okay, the sun's beginning to set, and they're thinking mincha, but who's going to tell the Rebbe, mincha, we got to get out of here? And like, okay, so the sun's setting a little bit more. Then it comes to the time I call the wanna daven mincha, right? Because sometimes it's like starting to set, and like it's okay, fine, and then it gets really dark, and then if you really want to daven mincha, you say, okay, I can still daven mincha. And then if you really don't want to daven mincha, it's like, well, wait, too late.
Very familiar with that one. Right.
It was like, like if you really want to daven, you stick your head out the window and you see far away in the horizon, it's still a little bit of light. You can daven mincha. Right? But otherwise, it's like, you just like forget it, like close the window, like way too late. So it's past that time, and they're thinking mincha, not so much, it's not happening, but what are they going to say? The Rebbe, nothing, and this goes on, and then they have no idea where they are, and it's pitch black in the forest, and if you've been in those parts of the world, the truth is by 7 o'clock at night, it looks like it's 2 in the morning and pitch black and dark and scary in the forest. So there they are, and they're going on for hours and hours and hours, and no one's saying to the Rebbe, what about mincha? But they're all thinking mincha, and it's past Marv, and it's past Chatzot, and it's like it's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and they get to this middle of nowhere, and the Rebbe turns to the Chassidim and says, it is here that we'll daven mincha. So they'll get off the wagon, and they go into this inn that they were in front of, this Gretchen that they were in front of, and they're kaliners, and they start dancing and singing and screaming on the top of their lungs.
Were there some neighbors that got
You're right. and here, versus these neighbors, and here, right, the villagers, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, they hear all this screaming and yelling going on, they come running with buckets of water, because they're sure if they're screaming and yelling in the inn, then the inn's on fire. So they come running with buckets of water to put out the fire, and the Chassidim see them, they grab the buckets of water, they put them down, and they grab them, and they start dancing. And it's like, it was on fire, but it wasn't a consuming fire, it was Mashiach fire. So this goes on until day breaks, and the Rebbe goes like this, in motions, and the next thing, all the Chassidim are on the wagon. And the old man, the innkeeper, is walking the Karliner Rebbe to the wagon. And Karliner Rebbe gets on the wagon, and he looks down at him, and he says, don't you have something to tell me? Don't you have something to tell me? So the old man says to the Karliner Rebbe, says, I want you to know, today's my birthday. I'm 107 years old. And when I was 7, this was my parents' inn. And for my 7th birthday, what did my parents have? They had nothing. So as a birthday present, they let me stay up as late as I wanted to. Right? Because kids think that life happens after they go to sleep. So they let me stay up as late as I wanted to. And he said, and I was, I was going to be a big boy, and I bust glasses, and then people started leaving, and I'm getting really tired, but I'm not going to sleep. And then the last guest left, and we're organizing the tables, and he said, I was like, no, I was so tired, but I said, I'm not going to sleep before my Abba and my Ima go to sleep. Not happening, no matter what. And finally, the benches were on the tables, and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and the door opens. And in walks the Baal Shem Tov, the master, good name. And he turns to his Chassidim and he says, it is here that we'll daven mincha. And they daven mincha, and they're screaming, and they're yelling, and they're dancing, and the villagers, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and they hear screaming, yelling from the inn, and they're sure that the inn is on fire. They come in with their buckets of water, and it's on fire, but not a consuming fire. And the Chassidim grab the buckets, put them down, grab their hands, and they're dancing and dancing and dancing. Light of Mashiach. The villagers and the Chassidim dancing together. And as day breaks, the Baal Shem Tov goes like this. And the next thing, all the Chassidim are back on the lot with the Baal Shem Tov. And there I was, he's telling the Karliner Rebbe, there I was, standing next to my parents. And the Baal Shem Tov, he leans over to me, and he puts his head on my head, and he says to me, says, today you're 7. But in 100 years from now, it's going to be a night like tonight. The last guest is going to leave, and you're going to clean up, and that last bench is going to go on the table, and you're going to be ready to close the front door, and the door's going to open, and in is going to walk a great Hasidic master, and he's going to say to his Hasidim, it is here that we will offer the afternoon prayer, and they will daven mincha, and they will scream and yell, and the villagers will think that the Eden's on fire, and they'll come running with their buckets of water, and it'll be on fire, but it'll be light of Mashiach. And when day breaks, he's going to go like this, and the Hasidim, they're going to be back on their wagon. When he comes, tell him I was here. When he comes, tell him I was here. And when you were playing the tambourine, I thought to myself, Michal was here. And
What are you talking
to Lev. And, you know, sometimes the Rebbe leaves the world and his Talmidim, they hold on to his Torah. And do you remember it? Do you not remember what he did say, what he didn't say? He meant this, he meant that. Right? But because he played the tambourine with his body, with all of his body, no matter how someone will pick it up and play it, he was there. He was there. And he left us with a Torah that we, no matter who we are, and no matter what we do know and don't know, right? The one instrument that you can play it like a violin or be tone deaf and still play it. Right?
What are you shaking your head about?
Well, I'm a tone deaf, so you're playing the violin. Right? But in my mind, it's like the tambourine is that instrument. You can be 2 years old and play the tambourine. You can be, right, physically handicapped and play the tambourine. Like, he's left us with something that no matter where we are in our relationship with God, and no matter where we are in the world, that we can play the tambourine. And when we do, we'll know that he was here. We'll know that he was here.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Chaim.
Yeah.
I just finished the last one.
Yeah.
There's still a little drop in there. There's a little drop in there still. I don't think
These guys are inspired me too. I learned music.
לעילוי נשמת מיכאל משה זאב בן נתן.
Amen. Amen.
לעילוי נשמת.
מיכאל משה זאב בן יהודית.
יהודית ונתן.
Chaim. Wherever you are, in the Chaim. Amen.
You're with us.
Reviewing your
And I eventually had the pleasure.
But I'll just say something very fast from getting out before the cops come. Like, it's a different perspective. I was close to your age when I went to the Moshav the first time. I was 18.
We're old. Old.
But here's the thing. So a friend of mine from here, from Golomb, said to me a long time ago, if Reb Shlomo is in Yerushalayim giving a concert that brings you for Shabbos, you have to go to the Moshav for Shabbos. So that's how I ended up there, and I went like every time Reb Shlomo was there for about 4 years. And the thing is, I was very shy, and I didn't like to introduce myself. So I went with another friend, very similar, and we just gave everyone that we saw, we gave them names. So Michael was the bracha man. And it's what you were describing, that you just like get into the zone and give people these amazing brachas. But you know, in terms of the davening, that's the part that you. I was at the time I was in this really straight seminary, and you know I'd sneak off. I literally was like covering my tie dyes so no one should see. You know, I'd sneak off to the moshav, and I remember like, okay, it's dark outside. Where's Shlomo? Like it's Shabbos. what's going on? At least the first few times, till I realized it's like, I was joking with my son that when the stars are out, you start shaking. Like, oh my God. Anyway, and then like Shlomo would come in an hour after that. So two things. I remember one Friday, about 20 minutes before candlelighting, he's like, Rav Shlomo, our Rebbe is coming. I'm like, great. He's like, no, you want to come with me to greet him? I'm like, oh, okay, he must be at the gate. He's like, no, he's at the airport. 20 minutes before candlelight. I'm like, what? Okay, cool. And so they're talking like it's noon. Like, oh, Shalom Aleichem. Oh, okay. I'm like, okay. So I came in the car, and whichever little kid, I don't know, because I was too shy to say, hi, who are you? But he had a little kid in the car, one of his kids, and he peed all over. Now, I was a teenager. Now that I'm a mommy, it makes a little more sense. And he was like, oh, Gewalt, Rebbe, I'm so embarrassed, I'm so sorry. Oh, I don't know what to do. And Shlomo was just like, he's like, Gewalt. He's like, what do you think? He's like, what do you think we were doing? What do you think we were doing when we were kids? That's what you do. That's why you're called Little Fisher. That's it. And it was like, oh yeah, okay. So then that was like one little snippet of, wow, this is crazy stuff. And then
I'm so sorry I have to leave. I promise. I wish I could stay for all of it. Thank you everybody for this. It's really amazing.
Good seeing you guys.
Special.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having this. It's so special. Really, thank you.
Good to see you again.
Love you all.
So there was this moment, Shalom Aleichem, in the dining room probably started around 11:30, maybe later. And at least I knew it by this point. It was like, I'd been there a few times, but I remember, I think everyone else is asleep. Like the suit is way over, but here it's just starting. And
where is this?
This is on the Moshe. And I just remember, because again, I was like, oh, I'm a little shy. I'm sitting in the back, just kind of watching what was happening. And Michal was standing there, doing his thing. Okay. And then, he engaged with Reb Shlomo, and they're both like this. It's like a half hour later, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so young, I didn't understand. I guess to put it in perspective, this is what I always try to explain to people, is that I remember every Motzei Shabbos, if Shlomo was there, that there'd be a line out his apartment, a block long. Everyone's he stayed up all night. Everyone was going in to see him. And in my innocence, I'm like, what on earth do people have to talk to this man about? Let him go to sleep. Today I'm like, if only. So there were a lot of things I didn't understand back then. I understand now. But so there's so much I think you captured so perfectly. You reminded me of a couple of these little snippets of someone that truly is a bracha man. It says in Mishlei, it says Ayin Tov Hu Yivarech, that a person with a good eye, that's a person who could give a blessing. Right. Meaning someone who can see the good in every single person. And what struck me about him, the bracha man, is that he didn't just go on and on. I guess a lot of us try to be like that. But it's like he looked at each person he was talking to and really tapped into, who are you? And let me give you a bracha. So in that manner, we should all see each other with good eyes.
Amen. 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 So cool. So much. Thank you. Thank you for opening your heart.
Aaron. Pleasure. Excellent music.
שבוע טוב. שבוע טוב.
Thank you for coming. Nice meeting you. I hope you come again. Come for meals. Come for shops.
You guys do anything tomorrow?
Berkowitz.
You guys do anything tomorrow?
I'm not sure. So,
There's putting together an event. It's a TED Talk style event. And social experts, all of that creativity, creative science, scientists, artists, poets. And it's really, really great. Just like straight down the Blonsky social dashboard in the corner of Sherborne and Mika.
is there like a
There is a cost.
Yes. My brother lives there. My parents just moved there like a couple months ago.
I've been there since 2000.
Do you know the Appel family?
What?
Rabbi Appel? No, okay.
But he said,
My brother-in-law and sister-in-law.
yeah.
No, my sister-in-law grew up there. That's why. Her maiden name is Michelle. Yeah, her father was aged there.
I don't know what age is, but I remember
Age is That's funny. Yeah, that's and my in-laws.
I had a friend, Chaim Appel. This phone? He said wife was upside down.
Thank you. It's perfect.
God's grace not straight give the light Orion and God's only lies
It was so nice to see you. We're in the
The words are by Rabbi David Zeller, and he got permission from Shlomo to put those words to it. And above my head, God's own holy light I feel.
I'm studying like the Sheena.
It was so good to see you. I know. Miss Claire? Miss Claire. Where did you go to high school?
Do you know David Zalov?
Simcha.
He's great.
I'm gonna sit on that couch.
He passed away. He's very close to Shlomo. They would do all classes together.
Say it, I'll sit on the couch.
He lived in France.
So he's kind of going and did something at your car.
My husband's a senator.
Before him, for sure, yeah.
So
We really need to move this.
He records and.
That makes sense.
Well, you do anyway, right? Also, musician.
We need to move anyway, yeah, no, but I mean, like, lots of professional songs. You really need to
Yeah, he has some great songs. Any leads? I'm losing too many chevron.
Great meeting you.
No, we're more coming in, brother. Don't worry. We're
Stork.
back.
Yeah.
Kind of like stork.
You can't party there either.
What's your name?
No, the one across from
Adam.
Yeah, I've seen her around.
Small, yeah. You can maybe build some.
But there's nobody in
Here, okay, this is a song.
There's only one house, so one is not
Joy, get to know you. It's a joy to get to know you. And I really am like to share with you.
Yeah, it's something.
It's a joy to get to know you. It's a joy to get to know you. And I really am like to share with you. Oh, just deep inside you, I can hear it so sweetly. It's calling forever to share with you. Oh, just deep inside you, I can feel it so sweetly. It's calling forever to share with you. It's a joy to get to know you. Joy to get to know you. And I really am liking to share in your world. It's a joy to get to know you. It's a joy to get to know you. And I really am liking to share in your world. Love is deep inside you. I can feel it so sweetly. It's a calling forever. Share your love is deep inside you. Feel it so sweetly. It's calling forever. To share your world. It's a joy to get to know you. It's a joy to get to know you. And I really am like sharing your world. It's a joy to get to know you. It's a joy to get to know you. And I really am like to share in your world.
World.
That's from David Zalov. You remember David Zalov? I knew him. You know him.
I met him.
What?
I met him.
Met him.
Where's that song originate?
Rabbi David Zalov.
I wasn't sure if you were freestyling.
Are you on a permanent vacation now?
Yeah, we were
Oh, no way.
It's actually not good. I really want to be somewhere with like
Conceptual structure?
Shavua Tov. A good tavach. Wow, I'm very tired.
You should bring the band over to our place.
Now?
We're better neighbors. I Rabbi Sefrin lives above me. He never tells me he's quiet. He's a Bob, you know. Louder we sing, he says sing louder. He's a Bob. It's good. You think, I was hoping we play a little more and then you come in and dance with us.
The whole time from until this after?
I once had a person, we were singing
a long time through the night, and a woman opened the door. It was here in LA. And she said, I was sitting in my apartment getting angrier and angrier. She said, I was about to come in here and yell at you. But I decided, maybe I'll just join you instead. And she came and sang with us. I just remembered that. I didn't.
Thank God, like, opening up to us.
We have like dress shop for girls, like girls who have dress shop. So it was in Germany. There was like one
Well, they text them more.
so like they wanted to have one or something.
Baruch Hashem, you gave them something to do.
Yeah.
You don't have any samples or anything like that?
It's hard. A lot of people, they're anti-Semitic and they have no Jews. What? And it's hard for them. He said I called him.
At some point, I don't know my ADD can sit 6 hours, 5 hours.
It's really fun. It's dynamic. It's awesome. Yeah.
Which part of the day are you sleeping?
I'm at 3.
That's probably what I'll be. Like from 3 to 6 hours.
I brought her last time too.
That's done. Or not.
Did you ever hear Rebbe Nachman in his book? He says it's a sin to be old. That's the end of the thing. It's a sin to be old. And then it goes on to say, he says we have to always be young and always be renewing ourselves every second. And then that guy came in and he's like, grow up, grow up. Like that's totally the Yetzer Hara right there. He said that several times. He's like, I'm the Yetzer Hara. You have to grow up. Oh, that wasn't.
I know, but I was thinking like
Abraham and still be like,
always grow young, grow young. Yeah. No, but keep the grow part. Don't drop
the whole thing of being old is like you can't change.
Same chords as the guitar?
This is not a D, it's a G.
Oh, okay, this is not the same. That's a G.
C.
Oh.
It's C to G to F to C. G. Now to C. F, C.
It's not too late.
That stuff is strong.
It is totally strong.
That stuff
Mix it with
will-
water though.
Yeah. It's like
When you mix it with water, it becomes really sweet. Also.
Is there anyone over here in this room that recorded what they said about Michael? Yeah.
You did?
You said
How are you recording it?
On my phone right now.
that's
I'm
why your
recording
phone.
you.
That's why your phone was there.
I'm recording you. Be careful.
Oh, that's what you see. I thought she just randomly throws her phone. Like I just asked her. I was like, but she quietly puts her. She places her phone.
You didn't get my consent form.